All right, just can see it. I can see your screen.
Yes,
Can everyone see my
can
screen?
see your screen.
Yes, yeah.
All right. Okay.
Screen is up.
Well, once again, good evening, everyone. My name is Benjamin Osagie. Before I go further, I have to appreciate Evelyn and the team, this Territory Product Innovation and Management, for having me here today. So I'll be speaking on the subject, the seat of a product designer on the product management. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah, we
can
can
hear
hear you,
you,
Benji. Yeah.
but your voice is cracking a bit.
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. So let me just give a brief introduction about myself. Like I said earlier, my name is Benjamin, or with experience in building products across websites and mobile application. I've worked with a few startups, and few is a on-demand logistics building products across the website and mobile application, collaborate with the team, developers or engineers, and a CTO. Also work with central as the product designer, also building products across website, also and mobile application. That was my previous role, and alongside, so that is just a brief introduction about myself. On the lighter note, also I watch movies, I listen to music, I also watch football also. So let's delve into the table of content. So I'm going to discuss about, before we discuss about the seat of product designer in the product management table, we need to unravel what product design means, the skills needed to scale as a product designer, how to get started as a product designer. Then the last but not the least is the seat of product designer in the product management. Please send a message out. Okay. And conclusion. So like I said earlier, before we delve into the seat of product designer in the product management table, we need to understand what product design means. And today I'm going to make it more of an interactive session. So to kickstart today's session, what is product design? When you hear that word product design, what comes to your mind? Because I know that it has been like a buzzword across for some, at least for like 2-3 years now. Everybody are trying to tilt into a particular field in that tech space, be it UI UX or product design or product management. So that has been more like a buzzword for each and every one of us. So the floor is open for anyone to at least answer. I can unmute anyone that wants to answer, or preferably you can chat, you can send a message on the chat session. What is product design?
Hello, Benjamin.
Anyone?
You can stop the video from your end so that your network will be much stronger.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what is product design? Anyone try to build the cart? Okay, I'm seeing a comment here. User has no name. Okay, so product design is more like a visual representation of the product idea and what it embodies. Okay, that's a good try. Any other person?
Yeah, let me try. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
so
I can hear you clearly.
okay, so product design we can put it like one of the, let me say, process where say maybe a designer used to meet up with the user's needs and balancing it with business goals and to create a successful product. Thereabouts, yeah. Did you get that?
Okay, thank you very much, Damola. I got that crystal clear. Okay, Olatola is saying the use of different visual elements into developing ideas into usable products. Okay, great definition thus far. So before I share my own definition, if you look at the word, there are two words there. There is products, there is design. Product is more like what you use on a daily basis. You can say your iron is a product. You can say your phone is a product. You can say your laptop is a product because it solves a need. What do you use a laptop for? You use it to undergo various activities, maybe from documentation, typing, and the likes. But tilting to the aspect of design, it is more of how it works. How does the user use the product? Steve Jobs said something that design is not about the look and the feel, but is that design is about how it works, the functionality, the experience behind the product. Now I'm tilting to product design. So it's like design is how it works in relation to a particular product you're using. So now, some definition I tagged here. I said product design is a comprehensive approach of creating a product based on both the target client needs and the business goal, just like what Adidamola just said. I'm still getting some few messages. Okolariwaju Adedoyin said, product designer means a process in which the stakeholder work with to achieve a target goal. Thank you very much. So product design is a comprehensive approach of creating a product based on both the target client's needs. Client needs are also called the user's needs and the business goals. Product designers work to optimize the user experience in the solution they make for their users and help their brand by making products sustainable for longer term user and business needs. A product success depends how closely it lines up with user needs and how effectively it solves a user problem in the context of their life and work. Now, if you look closely at the first paragraph, it said, client needs, business goals. A product designer must be able to build a product accuser and also solving a problem in relation to the business. There's an illustration that just depicts this. We have a business goal on one end, and we have the user goal on the other end. Right in the middle is where the product designer lies. He works simultaneously between both ends. So in continuation, product design, we have various processes involved to ensure that every product meets user needs and business goals. First on the item is user research, idea generation, refining and validating, prototype and test the product, iteration, deliver or launch. I will take each of them briefly. User research is more of like understanding the pain point of the user, going into doing a valid research on an interview on what the users needs. For example, I am building a product in the fintech space, and the problem is that most users are having challenges making transactions online. First and foremost, you need to undergo a user research. What does user research mean? You need to go and meet with users and understand their pain points. Various techniques can be used to actualize this. Number one is your survey questions, or I call them questionnaires. Number two is an interview with stakeholders. Try to say, okay, what are really the challenges whenever you have transactions, or whenever you're trying to make a transaction on your phone or something of that nature. That is the first thing. So once you have gathered all the useful information, then you have an idea generation. From the information you have gotten from the users, you cannot say, you cannot generate a lot of ideas by what they are trying to do. This is where you cannot see about things that people have said in respect to that. Because one, you're designing to meet the user's needs, not designing for yourself. That's one thing, that's one mistake that designers do. They design for themselves rather than designing for the user. So idea generation is collating the information that they gotten from the users, understanding their pain points, understanding okay where we need to solve the problem in relation to the transaction we are trying to the fintech product we are trying to build. The third one is refining and validating. This is where you now, the ideas I've got, you now try to fine tune them a bit. You now try to now brainstorm, you now try to meet ideas, define, empathize with the user, try to understand the full scope of the information that you've gotten. The fourth one is now prototyping and testing the product. This is where you now bring out the user flow, bring out the wireframes of the information you have gotten. You now start designing them one after the other. After you have designed them, you now begin to prototype them and test the product. Once you have tested the product and it meets, you can now launch it out or hand off to the developers. But if the product does not meet the user, they will have to iterate again. That's where the fifth one comes in, iteration. You continue to iterate until it meets the user's specification. Then the fifth one is to deliver or launch. So I have an illustration here that just depicts everything I itemize now. In various stages, we have the preparation stage, we have the development stage, we have the launch stage, and we have the growth stage. Let me just put this out. Product designers does not just, their process does not end in the launching stage. The product designers still go as far to the growth stage. This is where you now continually have engagement, conversion rates. How are users using that fintech product? What are the conversion rates there? What are the engagement? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you loud and
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have the preparation stage, we have the development stage, we have the launching, and we have the growth stage. In the pictorial representation here, everything is itemized. The processes, the ideas, the market research, market segment selection, user research, the solution hypothesis, the minimal products, the minimal prototype. Then you have to test it, develop it, then release. release, then and promotion. Thereafter, you can now have the communication with the users, strategic planning, further development. This is where you might say, okay, you have done version 1. Maybe we have to go further and add more feature and let's do version 2. So this is the whole process behind product design. Okay, so now, someone might ask me, how do I get started as a product designer? First and foremost, you need to identify the career path you intend to go. Most people reach out to me on LinkedIn. I want to do product design, I want to do UI UX. How do I start? I first ask them the question, why product design? Why UI UX? Those are the questions I tend to ask them. And some give me a valid answer, some just give me a shallow answer to some extent. But I have to just tell them, okay, product design is a very broad field. If you want to do it, you need to be committed, devoted onto that course. So that's the first thing. Identify the career path you intend to go. Second one is take up online courses such as Udemy, Coursera, etc. There are various courses online in product design. There's Udemy, there's Coursera, there's Class Central, there is other courses that you can take to make you grow in this space. The third one is apply for a design school to understand the roadmap and syllabus. This was very important. In my journey, I'll just briefly share my own journey. My journey to product design, I took up at least 2 design schools. I won't mention the names. I took up 2 design schools at a point in time, and this helped me in my own career path. Helped me definitely in my career path. So there are various design schools you can go to enhance your knowledge. There is Utiva, there is Creative Ferry, there is what's the word now? There is Pexels, there is Toten, there is Uranus Academy, etc. There are various academies you can go for, but just go for a course that will broaden your scope in this space. The fourth one, have a mentor for a smooth career path. This is the essence of it all. A mentor will help you in your growth, mostly in your product design career, will help you big time. But sometimes you have to be careful of the mentor you choose, because sometimes your mentor can become your tormentor at a point in time. You need to choose your friends wisely, choose your mentor wisely. A mentor that will assist you in your career path. The fifth one is join communities to enhance your growth. This is very essential. I can't count how many design communities I am in, inclusive of testing product innovation. A lot of communities I found myself in. Why? Because I want to grow past how I did some years back. So the sixth one is read articles, blogs, and books in relation to your field. Mostly in our time, we don't read books, we don't read articles, we don't read blogs. Sometimes we force people to read books, but reading books open your horizon to knowledge. That's what I noticed. That there was a book I was reading. I shared it on LinkedIn also. Articulating Design Decisions by Tom Greaver. I will expand further when I go to the next slide. And the book just helped me in my own stance, because it helped me understand how to really communicate with other stakeholders. So the next one is the skills needed to scale as a product designer. Can everyone hear me? Like I'm talking to myself of late.
We can hear you. We are with you. Right on.
All right. Thank you. So, what are the skills needed to scale as a product designer? Very important. Excellent communication skill. This is paramount this is like the essential nuggets needed for a product designer. If you cannot really articulate your design decisions to stakeholders, truly, I don't know how that shows that you have failed in your own primary assignment. Communication is extremely important whenever you're communicating with stakeholders. That is like your product manager, your developers, marketing associate, etc. Because product designer works across various fields. It is not just work alongside with the PM. You can also work alongside with the sales personnel, work alongside with the marketing personnel, work alongside the growth associates, work alongside the engineering team. So it's like a person that works across cross-functional teams simultaneously. So if you cannot effectively communicate your ideas or your solutions to the relevant stakeholders, there will be a challenge then. Number two is your teamwork and collaboration. This is the essence. Teamwork really is the essence in organizations or startups. I remember when I was still working with Danfo HQ, we had to really collaborate to at least ensure that we build the product on time. This is very essential. Whenever there's an issue, you come along with those solutions and just try to work alongside with the team. Working with a team is very important. You don't work in silos or work alone. Number three is decision making. How well are you versed in the kind of decisions that you make in the design you brought out, design solutions you brought out? Is very key. The fourth one is creativity and innovation. How creative are you as a product designer? Because you are supposed to think out of the box, bring some creative ideas that will ensure that the product is successful, or it should be product out successfully. It's critical, a critical skill for a product designer. Then we have empathy. Yeah, the sixth one is have a curious mind. You must be inquisitive at the point in time. Then the last one, understand the business side of design. This is the ultimate for me, because if you're a product designer and you don't understand the business side of design, the potential for a product to fail is very high, because it is very critical. Like if you see the definition I made, user need business goal. You must understand how the metrics work in the product. You must understand how the customer engagement work. You must understand data. You must understand figures, because this is what will ensure that the team scale on the long run. So now we have come to the real essence of what our discussion today. The seat of the product design at the product management table. Yeah. So the seat of the product design at the product management table. I will just share a brief experience with myself. This was when I still work with a startup. Most of the times, when you're given a role as a product designer, we should constantly work alongside as a team, mostly with a product manager, developer, and the like. Mostly, you're a person that is just starting out in product design, or you're gotten a job in an organization. One of the essentials is that you should constantly collaborate with PMs. But most of the times, the PMs themselves, they make it a challenge for the product designer at a point in time. So I'm going to itemize some relevant things needed, especially as a product manager. First and foremost, get the designer involved from the beginning. This one is a tall order for some PMs. Some PMs will just have the product requirement documentation. They won't go as far as pushing the user flow, putting the wireframes, and I say, okay, product designer, take this and start working on it without even proper communication of what we are trying to build. This should not be so. Getting your designers involved from the very beginning not only earns you their respect. Okay, is a comment here. All right. So getting your designers involved from the very beginning not only earns you their respect and trust, but also helps you build your product in the right direction. This is where it's critical. PM should involve them from the beginning. If possible, you can involve them when you're doing your product requirement documentation. If possible, involve them too when you're documenting the product requirements. For an example, I'm building a product in a logistics startup, and let's say I'm the PM, and I'm now like, okay, bringing all the product requirements there. Okay, giving a product overview. That for HQ is this and that and that. On-demand solution, doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that. Then after you now go to the product roadmap. Okay, this is how I want to this is how I want to scale from first quarter to second quarter to third quarter to fourth quarter, etc., etc., etc. If you don't involve the designer from the onset, the designer will get lost on the long run. That is the truth of the matter. They will get lost on the long run. That is why PM should sit the product designer down and tell them, okay, this is the product we're trying to build. This is what we're trying to achieve in the next 2 years, in the next 4 years, in the next 6 years, in the next 8 years. I want you to do this, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. Thereafter, the product designer cannot take all that documentation and now start implementing the look, the feel, the functionality of the product. Hope everyone is listening.
Yes, we are listening. Very
Yes,
interesting.
we are listening.
Yes, you can.
All right. So that is the first one. The second one is respect their vision. As a team, you need to find a balance between what looks good and what functionally achieves your goal. Sometimes you need to be on the other side of compromise. When a designer tells you that something just doesn't look good. I remember a time when I was still working with the startup. I shared my design solution with them. They're telling me, why are you having this button rounded? Why are you having why not have the button rounded? Why not have 2 primary buttons simultaneously? Something of that nature. But I have to tell them that you cannot have 2 primary buttons simultaneously. You must have 1 primary button and must have a secondary button. Because if you have 2 primary buttons, the user will get confused all of a sudden. They will not know which one to choose. This happens more when you're signing up or logging in. Let's say I have an input field, I have username or first name, email, password. Then you now have sign up. They now have a button of sign up and have a button again of login. That alone is a user flow error, big time. It's a big copy flow. And at the end of the day, you will say, oh, I want it to be like that. And you are not telling them, oh, this cannot work like that. It's best that we have 1 primary button and have a secondary button. For a secondary button that at least it will differentiate that, oh, one is the primary button, the second is the secondary button. So I had that situation at the point in time, and it was cleared out, and even the PM had to compromise on the long run. So then the third one is speak their language. Product people and design people care about the same thing, which is shipping great products, but they just process information in a different way. PM, I always have issue with PM big time on this aspect. Okay. I always have issue with PM on this aspect. Sometimes PM will just give you some terminologies that will cut the PD unaware. Some terminologies like DAU, MAU, churn rate, this is that, some kind of information that the product designer does not even have an idea of. So nice, maybe you just build a design solution and they tell you, okay, how can the optimization rate work alongside in your onboarding phase of so and so? It's just an example, please. I'm just citing that as an example. That alone will confuse the product designer. What does the optimization rate have to do with the onboarding phase? As the product designer, will just get clueless on the spot. So it will be better with just product manager can at least break these terminologies down for the product designer so that he can adequately understand the product and try to iterate further. All right, so the fourth one is participate in the design process and collaborate constantly. I said that PM should participate in the design process or rather get involved in what they are doing, see the flow and all. Sometimes PM, when PM just give them the product requirement documentation, they just go to sleep all of a sudden. They say, oh, let a designer just do their own thing. Let the PM get involved, participate in what they are doing. See how they are doing their design process. See how they are doing their user flow. See how they are doing their information architecture. Get to collaborate with them. So, oh, this is okay. This is how the design process is. Okay, this is how the user flow is. This is how this and this is. With that, you are getting them engaged. You're engaging the product designer, and you're now easily understanding. Okay, this is how their thought process are. The fifth one is facilitate frequent feedback loops. Frequent feedback about the product is required to make sure we are aligned with the product requirement. Let's say I design a solution out for the company or for the year or for the organization. PM should constantly facilitate feedback, frequent feedback. Sometimes, like me, I'm not too good using stand-ups because that's a distraction for me on a norm. PM use stand-ups very well. Stand up in the morning, stand up in the evening. Almost every Monday to Friday we do stand-ups. To me, we can use other platforms like Jira, Asana, or other product management tools in which you can just put a ticket there and the rest is history. Okay. I'll get back to the question after. What is there this issue? Okay. All right. So, frequent feedback about the products required. So, I got this picture from LinkedIn. Most of us are aware of this. I'm going to ask this question out now. Who is to be blamed? Is it a PM or PD? So who is to be blamed in this design you are seeing here? Is it the PM or the PD or both?
I think both of them.
Okay, share a reason.
Hello.
Share a reason. Why?
The thing is that the designer, I understand that a PM is overseeing everyone.
Okay.
If I am not wrong. At the same time, if I know my ex and I know my ex, you ask me 1 + 1 is 2. And no matter what you do, I will still stand by my ex to tell you, okay, PM, I understand you do, this is like you're the one overseeing, but this is actually the right thing. I understand the design thinking and the whole rest of it. I am the one who does the user interface and that is my work. Your own is to do strategy and the rest of that. So I should stand by, I should stand and defend it. So that's what I feel. Yes. But another thing that could be an issue is the way they communicated to each other. We all have different ways, manner of approach, communicate. You can communicate to someone, Benjamin, and the person don't listen to you, and I still come to the person and communicate to him or her, and the person listen to me. So it still boils down to relationship management. How do you communicate? How do you work? Yeah, I know there are people who are difficult, but how emotionally intelligent are you to really communicate, to know the time to communicate, to understand the environment of who you want to communicate and the right time to communicate to him or her. So I think both of them should be blamed. That's what I feel.
Thank you very much. Any other comments?
Okay. Yeah, I think, can you all hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Both are to be blamed, right? So, well,
Okay.
I don't really think it's a blame thing. It's just an error, I believe. So, from the product manager's end, I think the issue was, communication. He didn't quite communicate the right requirements to the product designer. And from the product designer's end, I would fault him for, having this soft skill of active listening. It's very whether as a product designer, as a product manager, to have active listening skills, to really listen, not to respond, but to really understand and interpret what it is you're required to do, and then ask questions if necessary to make sure that you're building the product with the right requirement. That's just what I want to say.
Hello. For me, I would say the entire company is at fault. The product designer, the product manager,
Thank you very much.
the QA that
You
tested
have more
it,
comments.
the people that launched it.
Yeah.
I really don't know what was going through their head,
Okay.
but I
I like
think
this idea.
all
Why,
of
man?
them,
I like
because
this
this
idea.
says online death certificate requests. So this means this person has died already, is dead. So why would I want to request for a death certificate for myself? Sincerely speaking, I don't know why this came up, but that is my own take.
Maybe he's planning to die. He's not dead. He's just planning to die. That's the reason why it's there.
Hello, Benjamin. Hello, Benjamin. I think Benjamin's network. Okay, it's back now.
Sorry, I went out earlier. Yeah, no, no. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. You are welcome back.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. All right. Sorry, Evelyn, you have to take it back again. My network kicked me out earlier.
Okay, so I said, for me, it is everyone that is to be blamed in that company, starting from the designer, the product manager, the QA that tested these products, even those that launched it, the marketing team that went out to announce that they have a product in the market, every one of them. Because if this is online death certificate request, the person is dead already. So why will I want to request for, why will a dead person, or how will a dead person request for a death certificate for him or herself? I don't know the rationale behind this, but the whole team, for me, is to be blamed for this.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll give you some comment here. Very sensitive. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Well, so what makes sense? Everyone should be blamed for this because right from the head to the PM to the PD, one that won't launch it.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, okay. So they are correct. I give it a partner product development. And the essence of understanding the product requirements from PM and vis-a-vis will enhance effective communication and content that will meet the user needs and the business products. Okay, so I'll draw the curtain here. Thanks for listening or comments.
Thank you so
Okay, I have a
much,
question already.
Benjamin. Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so we can start dropping our questions. We're trying to keep to time. Benjamin, there was a question earlier from Olariwaju. You can take that. While others drop their question in the chat, we want to keep to time. This is 2022. We are respecting time here.
All right. So, Olariwaju says, send a question here. So, why is there always an issue between product designer and product manager? These are trying to meet the same goal at a long run. I said it earlier. Communication.